everyone! Today I'm going to do a video that I like to do every year when my beds are still relatively empty, and that is to go around and show you all of the containers that I use in my garden and talk about where they're from. This is a great resource because this is probably one of the questions I get asked the most is where is XYZ container from? And then this way I have something to point people back to, and also if you are in the market for any sort of containers, elevated beds, I can let you know where I got mine. Now I will say, when you are on the hunt for maybe more expensive elevated beds or pots, I tend to find that fall winter is the best time to shop for them because there's usually either holiday sales or end of the season sales. Spring, I feel like there's not quite as many sales going on as gardening season is just starting to ramp up. But also, now that this is my 5th year going into gardening completely in containers on a rooftop deck, there are some things I would do differently with my container choices than kind of what I started with, so I'll let you know that as well. But let's go ahead, we'll do the front deck first, then we'll head to the back deck. I will link everything down below, assuming I can still find it. And let me show you every single container that I'm using in my garden. Let's start with the largest containers, which are my elevated beds. So when you're looking for beds with legs on them, where the bottom isn't open and they're sitting on the ground, you'll find better results if you looked for elevated versus raised beds. And if you do find something with raised beds and you need something with the bottom, just double check because I almost made that mistake. But all of these are the brand Grownomics. They do have their own website, which is where these 3 are from. And then it's also a brand that's sold at retailers. So this one was actually my first raised bed back in 2019. And I got this from Home Depot. This one here is my largest one. So all of these raised beds that are kind of at waist height, I believe these are 32 inches tall, and then every single bed is 48 inches across. This one is my largest, so it's also 34 inches deep where I'm looking at it. These 2 are 24 inches deep, and then this one is 18 inches deep. And I like the different heights for different reasons. These 3 that are waist high are great because that means I don't have to bend over at all. And then I also like having a lower one so that I can grow taller things in it and not worry about them getting broken in the wind, because we do have a lot of wind up here. And you can see how tall these sunflowers were from last year. If they were growing in these raised beds, I'm pretty sure the wind would have broken them in half. So I like the varying heights for sure. I have more lower ones that I chose for the back deck that I'll show you in just a second. Now, because the raised beds are so large, obviously those don't get moved around. It's also the hardest that if I ever wanted to replace it, it would be the most difficult to replace. So I would say, if you don't really know what you need in your garden yet, start with like grow bags, smaller pots, and then wait a little bit to invest in an elevated bed. I did not do that, and the few things I would do differently if I was kind of starting over again is I would look for beds that have metal legs, because just from what I've been reading, when wood touches wood, because it's porous, that can lead to more issues than if there's like metal touching wood. So I think that would just help with longevity and more deck protection. I would also put wheels on it, or find one that came with wheels, because I would love to be able to move these around, even if it's just like scooting it a couple inches because I have a pot that I want to put somewhere and I need to shift a bed. That'd be so nice if I could do that, but I definitely can't. Now, when those beds are empty and I put them together, they were super easy to put together. I did it all on my own, but they're lightweight enough that like my husband and I could pick it up and move it. But once they're filled with soil, they are not going anywhere. So I would put the most time into really thinking about what you want with your raised beds before just going for it. But I still love them. I still use them. They've worked great. I think the first one again was 2018 or 2019, then 2020 and 2021. So they've been in my garden since then. Now let me go show you some of my pots. Actually, let me talk about my flower cart first. So this I got because 1, it's pretty, and 2, I wanted more vertical growing space. And if I can find something that maybe is a little bit unique, a little bit different, that you might not think of as a vertical planter, and it looks really like pretty and whimsical, I mean, that's what I'll go for. And I absolutely love this. It also is pretty lightweight, like I can easily move it in and out on my own. It's from Deer Park Ironworks. Similar to the raised beds, they also sell these at like Walmart, Home Depot. I got this directly from the site because I think they only had black from the other stores, and I wanted this like brown, bronzy color. Oh, there's someone that's been pooping on my deck. But I wanted this to kind of blend in with my deck since everything on there is brown. So that's where that is from, and I really, really love it. Now, as far as containers, another thing that I've changed with over time is now I basically only go for lightweight containers. Again, once they're filled with soil, they're much heavier to move. So those really pretty ceramic pots that I love are very hard to move around the deck. So I go for things that are like plastic, resin, terracotta I will use, but I don't leave those outside. So anything, if you want something that can be left outside, is easier to move, look for something that's lightweight. Now, I would estimate that about 90%, if not 100% of the pots that I have are from either Home Depot, where I'm going in person to the one by us, or on Amazon. What I like about using Amazon is if I need a specific size and color pot, I just put all of those into the search box, and I can usually find something that is pretty close to what I need. And obviously, Home Depot, it's the closest garden center to us, and if I need something, I will just run over there and pick it up. So that's where, again, like 90% of all of my pots are from those two places. I can't link every single pot because I don't even know what some of these are named, but if there is a pot that you have questions about or interested in, let me know in the comments and I'll try to find the specific one or remember if it is from Home Depot or Amazon. But like I said, go for lightweight. It'll make your life so much easier. There's so many beautiful ceramic pots that I started with that are now inside, and I'm using them as houseplants because one, they're heavy, and two, they can crack if I leave them outside. So I'd rather just keep them inside as my houseplant pots. Over here, these two are the Aquapot lights, which I was lucky enough to get to try out last year. I don't believe they were for sale, and I think they are now going to be available for sale, if not already this year. I'll link them below if I can find them now. But these are lightweight, which is why they're the Aquapot lights. Again, once they're filled with soil, they're pretty hard to move just because of their size, which I think was either 20 by 20 or 18 by 18 square. But I mean, it's still possible. And when they're empty, super lightweight, easy to carry up here. But I really like these a lot. I like the shape, I like the color. I'm trying to decide if I want to get more, because I think they sell them separately. I'll have to check if I want to get more of just these pots, because I do need some larger pots and I like the look of these to maybe grow some fruit trees in or something. I don't know, but that's where these two are from. This is more Amazon, Home Depot finds. And then my little herb rack here, this is from Gardener's Supply. It came with two additional like rounded corners you can choose from. I just wanted the stair step, and that's where I grow all of my herbs. Swinging around here, again, same. This pot I know is definitely from Amazon. I have a little galvanized tub here. Ooh, that reminds me. You can be very creative with what you're using as containers. Anything that either already has drainage or you can add a drainage hole to can be used as a container. So the galvanized little bin or pot or whatever it is, for example, I drilled holes into it. I've used a drill, of the number of times I've used a drill in my life, like 99% of it has been to drill holes into containers. So that's what I did with the galvanized pot. So if there's something that you really like, but maybe doesn't have drainage, add a couple drainage holes to it and then you can use it in your garden. I'm pretty sure all these brown pots are Amazon as well. Then I have my 30-gallon grow bags. These I've had outside since 2019. They're still, I mean, relatively put together. I think one of these had a little slit in it, but now I don't see it. And if soil's falling out, I don't know if I actually am going to replace it. But these are the brand Garden Forever, also that I found on Amazon. So durability seems great. You can see here they're on platforms that have wheels on them, again, so I can move them around, which I would highly, highly recommend. I've already put a video together about like my lifts and platforms, but I'll link those down below as well. But I use these for my intermittent tomatoes, my giant zinnias, just my larger plants. But I find that vegetables really seem to do well in my grow bags. So those are the 30-gallon. And then let's come over here because I want to show you some of the differences between my smaller grow bags. So after I got the 30-gallon black grow bags, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try some beige ones, and you can see how dirty they get. So I changed my mind after a couple seasons, but I mean, they still work and function, they just don't look the best. These are the brand Vivo Sun. It looks like both of these are You the 7-gallon or the 5-gallon? I don't think, oh no, it says 5-gallon. So these are the 5-gallon. Again, just found them on Amazon. These are 7-gallon and they're from Park Seed. Now, a few things about each of these. I mean, they all hold soil and work just fine as grow bags, but I did notice on the Vivo Sun one specifically that the handles just kind of basically disintegrated. Even if I wasn't using them, I don't know if it was them sitting in the sun or what, but the handles fell off. Now, I can still pick it up just fine on the edge, but I mean, that is something that's a bit different from the other grow bags. Then I have these, and why I like these a little bit better is because the handles are built into the bag. You can kind of see here, it's not like it's a separate piece. It's almost like one piece of fabric and a handle was cut out. So far, at least, the handles haven't ripped off of these, which is nice. 7-gallon is probably my most used grow bag. I'm kind of moving away from 5 gallons because they're just slightly small in most cases, and I feel like 7-gallon just works a little bit better. So these were from Park Seed. These are the brand Vivo Sun on Amazon, and they have other colors of these too. And coming around the corner here, I have these 2 plant stands, which will go over on either side of my herb rack and also hold 4 herbs total. I really like these. I like the look of them. They're also from Amazon. I leave them outside over winter, so there is a little bit of rust, but that's fine with me. I just really like the look of these. I think they're technically supposed to be indoor plant stands. I don't know if these have ever fallen over in the wind, so they're not like the heaviest, but I think they've mostly stayed upright. But I would put like heavier pots. So I use terracotta pots now for my herbs, and that definitely helps to hold them in place. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. So my table and chairs, not containers, but these are from Wayfair back in 2016, but I feel like things stay on Wayfair for quite some time, but I really love them. I love the table, even though it's rusting and falling apart. I do cover it, but I don't know, just the weather from sitting outside for 5, 6, 7 years. And the chairs are also from Wayfair, and I really like them as well, even though one of them is kind of starting to fall apart. So I might need to replace them at some point, but I'm not at that point yet. All right, so that's everything I think on my front deck. Now let's go head out to the back deck. All right, we're over here on the back deck, and let's start on this side. So these 3 wooden containers I actually got for free from someone that was giving them away. I think I found them on Instagram, where they messaged me that they were getting rid of these and they were perfect for what I wanted. So I went and grabbed them, which is great. So definitely look at places like Facebook Marketplace, or if you're in some gardening groups on Facebook, or there's also groups where it's like give things away for free. See if there are other people out there that are gardening and have pots to give away. I have given away plenty of pots when I realized that they no longer kind of work best for my situation. So I think there's always people that are willing to give pots away if you know where to look. So definitely check that out, because containers, specifically my elevated beds, are probably the most expensive part of my garden, or definitely, although I do buy a lot of potting soil too. But if you can try to find cheaper alternatives, like someone giving them away for free, that obviously makes it a little bit easier on your budget. So now I'll show you the rest of my pots out here. Same thing with these. These were from Amazon. These pots here are also from Amazon, but then these smaller brown ones, like shorter brown ones, I actually found at an estate sale that was actually a plant store that was going out of business. So I got 4 of these for super, super cheap. So estate sales are a great place to look for cheaper containers too. Let me see here. This one, I think this was a Home Depot find. And these black pots were also Home Depot, I believe. Now, the pots I probably get asked about the most are these gray ones. And I feel like anytime I get asked about something a lot, it's always a thing you can't really find. These were from my mom. She's had them for decades. They've been left outside. There's cracks in them, but they're really pretty, so I still use them. And look, we have a daffodil, which is the first of the blooming bulbs that I planted in the fall. So I'm so excited to see that in my garden. The plastic and resin, I'm pretty sure those are also from Amazon. That was from a garden center. It's ceramic. It is heavy. I think the hydrangea in it is dead, so I'm going to empty it out, and that's going to be an indoor planter as well. Oh, and then show you this pot before we head to the elevated beds here, but this was also from Amazon. I needed, again, something very specific, a very specific size, and that's where it came to. And then it's also on a wheeled platform. Now these elevated beds are from the Charming Bench Company, and I think they were like a reseller of, I don't know what the original site is. So these are, again, pots that you can find from other retailers. These are the extra large size. So it's 50 wide by 20 deep and 17 inches high. I knew here that I wanted to grow like my giant zinnias or plants that were going to be taller, so I wanted the lower raised beds here just to protect them, again, from the wind. And I really like these. I love the look of them. Again, I would probably drill wheels into the bottom of them, but I didn't, so this is where we are today. But I really love the look of those. My furniture is from Home Depot, again, years ago, but I feel like places like Wayfair and Home Depot tend to carry the products for a while. So let me see, actually. It's the Hampton Bay collection, and same thing with the chair that's covered. I have to remember to cover this because it's going to rain. Then I have this super large pot that I got specifically for my beach plum. This was also an Amazon find. Same thing with the platform. This is the same platform that is under my 30-gallon grow bags. And then we have this little vertical planter situation that I just got, again, from Amazon. I swear I'm not sponsored by Amazon. It's just the easiest place to find containers that I'm looking for. And this is the one that I just did a video on where I drilled holes in the bottom and turned it into a vertical planter. So I'm really excited to see how this does this year. This is on wheels because I finally learned. And lastly, these 3 containers that are sitting on the wall of the deck. These I've just gathered from whatever was the cheapest I could find at garden centers, but they had to be heavy enough so that they wouldn't blow off. And I was still nervous that even though they are pretty, I mean, I can pick them up and carry them fine myself, but they are still a little bit heavy, but I was worried they weren't heavy enough. But we've had some pretty good windstorms and they've stayed in place, so that's been great. Do they match? No, but they were the cheapest of the ones I could find. So that's where all of my containers are from. Like I said, I'll link down the ones like the raised beds. I'll link down like my cart, like this thing behind me where I remember where it's from. But if there is a specific pot that you saw that you really liked, let me know in the comments and I'll try to find the specific link for it. I've just collected so many over so many years. It's kind of hard to remember where all of them are from. But again, I just want to stress that you don't necessarily have to invest a lot of money into your containers. I mean, I know people that use like fabric grocery bags as containers, as similar to grow bags. You can, again, anything that you have that you can put a hole into so there is some sort of drainage, you can use in the garden. But like I said, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.